And welcome to those of you watching third round coverage of the 3M Open from TPC Twin Cities just outside of Minneapolis, Minnesota. I'm Hakeem Dermish with your recap of round 3. And what a round it was. Moving day was wild, especially on 18 where 110 balls went into the water on 18, which is just absolutely wild. The 18th hole recorded 110 balls that went into the water through rounds 1 through 3. Most balls in the water on a hole on tour since 2003. Cameron Tringali lucky enough to be able to par 18. He is your leader with a one-shot lead over a host of golfers. In fact, 14 players within 3 shots of the lead, including Gary Woodland, the 2019 U.S. Open champ, just 1 shot back. He's tied for second alongside the youngster Maverick McNeely. Now, being the 54-hole leader has not actually been good this season. Just one of the past 12 54-hole leaders have converted on tour this season. The one guy, you ask? Phil Mickelson at the PGA Championship. And for once, welcome in CBS Sports HQ golf analyst Kyle Porter and Sportsline data scientist and host of the First Cut podcast, Rick Gehman. Want to start with the carnage on the final hole at TPC Twin Cities. This is what Kyle Porter roots for, carnage. 18 currently ranked as the hardest par 5 on tour this season. Kyle, from your perspective, what's making 18 so tough?
Well, I think part of it, I don't know if I root for this much carnage, especially when it's not a U.S. Open week, but I think part of it is pin position. You know, the pin on Sunday is kind of that right pin, and you kind of have an awkward angle to go and get it from depending on where your tee shot is, you know, at the beginning of the hole. So I think that's part of it. It is still very unusual. You know, this hole played under par in round 1. It played under par in round 2, barely under par, but still a little bit under par. It's so unusual, Hakeem, to see a hole playing this much over par for a par 5, especially. You know, normally on the tour, if you see difficult holes, it's par 4s that maybe should be par 5s, but they're playing as par 4s, and you see some guys having difficulty. You rarely see a par 5 play this difficult on the PGA Tour. So, you know, I think it means that Sunday is going to be kind of chaotic until the very end, based on what we saw, especially on Saturday, and depending on where the pin is on Sunday afternoon.
It's not only rare for a par 5 to be playing this much over par, but one that played much easier earlier in the week. And I think what we got on Saturday was a little bit of a change in the wind direction, and the way that par 5 kind of wraps around the lake. It makes every single shot that you're hitting kind of awkward. I mean, you can hit it in the water off the tee. You can hit it in the water on your approach. If you fly the green and now you're kind of in an awkward position over the green, you're playing back towards the water, and there's just a lot of big numbers lurking. There is no way. I mean, even if you hit it into the left rough off the tee and lay up, your third shot is on an awkward angle now. It's just an incredibly difficult hole that has these guys really second guessing a lot of the shots that they're taking. And when they start getting doubt in their head, that's when those big numbers come into play. And we saw that basically all Saturday long. It's already, you know, one of the holes with the most balls in the water for the week. We still have a round to go. It's seemingly not going to get much easier over the final 18.
What's exciting is the fact that this tournament could come down to 18 on Sunday. Yeah. Like, we're going up to 18, and we got a couple of guys, and they're hitting their second shot there, and you're like, oh, we're hitting the 3-wood at 250, and oh, hold on a second, what's going on? So this is going to be a great finish there at TPC Twin Cities on Sunday. Cameron Tringali, among the lucky ones to par 18 on Saturday, leads the way by 1 shot, eagled 12, bogey-free 566 on moving day, looking for his first PGA Tour victory. And Tringali feels like a guy y'all talk about a lot on the First Cut podcast. Kyle, who is this guy?
Well, he is a guy that we talk about a lot because, Hakeem, he's the all-time PGA Tour money leader among guys who don't have a PGA Tour win. So I think that kind of tells you the story of his career. He's been super consistent in terms of making FedEx Cups and making a ton of money. He just doesn't win, and he's not I mean, he really doesn't even contend to win that much. So I think he's in a fascinating position on Sunday because, yes, he's the favorite because he's 1 stroke ahead, but if you look at the next 20 guys behind him, they're all within 4. And I just think it's extraordinarily unlikely that Tringali wins this tournament just because of how many guys are behind him and how easy it would be for any of them to surpass him on a course that, we've seen some 64s, bunch of 65s, 66s this week. It's going to be very difficult, I think, for him to hold off all these guys behind him.
We talk about him all the time because he's constantly on the first page or two of the leaderboard. He's piling up top 20 finishes. He actually gained a lot of distance off the tee in the past couple of years. So he's been one of the most improved players. But Kyle's absolutely right. Still with the rare distinction of making the most money in PGA Tour history without a victory. I'm sure he is going to want to end that on Sunday, but it's not going to be easy. Not only are you going to have to go out there and shoot something particularly low, maybe 4, 5, 6 under par, just because there are so many chasers behind you, but now you're in a situation where you have such little experience in, heading into the final round in contention. And we know he's never hoisted a trophy on the PGA Tour, and you got to imagine what's going through his head on this Saturday evening and how difficult it's going to be with a late tee time. I mean, we see this week in and week out on the PGA Tour. These leads, no matter how big they are, seem to evaporate almost instantaneously when these guys get out on the golf course on a Sunday. So it is going to be something really special if he can pull it off, but it is probably stacked against him at the moment.
Well, he's not winning, but at least he's winning for your listeners of the First Cut podcast, because I know you guys always like to use him in DFS or when you want to wager on matchup plays as well. Plenty of players in contention as we talk about what's going on at the 3M Open, including 2019 U.S. Open champ Gary Woodland, who's one shot back. Rick, who's a player in the chase pack that you project to be in the mix in the final round?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of guys here. Woodland's kind of interesting. McNeely's interesting as well. Johnny Vegas could make a move on Sunday. Let's go with Johnny Vegas. He is elite in one skill set. It is off the tee. He laps the field in that category. When you're able to put yourself in position off the tee at TPC Twin Cities, that's half the battle. Now, we have seen him get hot with the putter at times. He has a couple runner-up finishes here in the last couple of months. So we have seen this position on the leaderboard for Johnny Vegas. It shouldn't be unfamiliar for him to be on the first page of the leaderboard. Again, it's probably unlikely that I pick any single one of these guys to come out of the chase pack to win, but Johnny Vegas is a guy who you should certainly be keeping an eye on as this thing winds down.
Yeah, the two guys that I really like going into Sunday, one is Mav McNeely. I'll talk about him in a minute, though. But Louis Oosthuizen, he's 4 back, and so it's pretty unlikely that he would go out and shoot what he needs to shoot to win the tournament. He might have to shoot a 63, a 62, something like that. But I would be aware of him a little bit because he hasn't really found his putting stroke this week, and that's something where Oosthuizen's been one of, if not the best putter in the world so far in 2021. So he's somebody that on Sunday, the way he's hitting the golf ball, he could really pop up and come from behind and steal what would be just his second win, and I believe it's 202 PGA Tour starts over the course of his career.
Ricky Fowler looking for his first win in 2 years. He was the first-round leader. Looked like he was putting himself in contention to win again. In the third round, though, birdied 6 of his first 10 holes, then had back-to-back bogeys on 13 and 14. Then on 18, he carded a triple bogey 8. And again, we know 18 playing tough for the entire field. Kyle, how do you explain the start to Ricky's round compared to how he finished his round on Saturday?
Well, I think the finish to the round can be explained right there. He chunked that shot into 18, and the frustrating part for him was that he hit a bad tee shot on 18, way out to the left, and so he had to lay up, and he laid up to a great position. I mean, he was kind of set up to, maybe you have a run at birdie, but at worst you make par, and then all of a sudden those 2 approach shots that he hit, and Hakeem, he wasn't hitting bad approach shots so far this week, but it wasn't his best ball striking week. So it seemed like it caught up with him a little bit there at the very end. Otherwise, he would be, up there kind of in contention with the guys that we've been talking about to potentially run down Cameron Tringale.
Yeah, he goes out in 30 and takes the lead on Saturday, and you're thinking, oh boy, Ricky's finally going to break through. This is going to be a good one. Couple of bogeys and, of course, the very ugly triple on 18, and now those winning hopes are dashed. But I think there's still plenty of positive takeaways for Ricky Fowler. We know he's wearing those new prescription glasses now, and believe it or not, pretty good is how he can play when he can see the ball. I think that's something he should have probably tried a while ago, but the putting stroke looks back for Ricky, and that's really the one key that unlocks the rest of his game. It allows him to freewheel it a little bit more from the fairway or on his approach shots, and he doesn't have to be nearly as exact when he's feeling comfortable and confident with the flat stick. So even though this is likely going to be seen as a disappointing week for Ricky Fowler when all is said and done, because he should have been in contention heading into the final 18 holes, these are small building blocks for him that I think are certainly trending in the right direction.
Ricky Fowler will enter the final round 6 shots off the lead. All right, let's get your pick to win the 3M Open going into the final round. Start with you.
I have no idea. I mean, there are so many guys in contention here. Just a couple of shots back. I think you're going to need a couple of things. I think you're going to need firepower. I think you're going to need a little bit of confidence. I think you're going to need a little bit of luck. And I'd ideally like it if you have won on the PGA Tour before. So sign me up for Cameron Champ. We saw him hit it into the water on 18 on Saturday on his tee shot. He ends up making par, but he left a stroke out there because he is a guy who who's going to be hitting a shorter club into almost every single hole than the vast majority of the field. And we have seen this build for the last week or two with Cameron Champ. He's very confident right now. He played well at the John Deere Classic, and when he gets in contention, I do think that he is a closer. He just hasn't put himself in contention enough recently. So I would like to see him go out from behind, chase down the guys at the top, and win this golf tournament.
I have no idea is usually my line on the First Cut podcast. So Rick is going to maybe have to pay some copyright fees there. But I'm going to go. I promised I would talk about Maverick McNeely again. I'm going to talk about him right now. I think he's going to go out and win this golf tournament. There are a couple of things that I like about his statistical profile. One, he hasn't just done it with the putter. He's been a plus in every category. He's hit the ball well. He's contended at some PGA Tour events this year. Not a ton, but he'll pop up every once in a while. And then the other thing that I like is that he didn't go out. He wasn't among the guys that shot 64, 65 on Saturday. He went out and shot 3 under. I don't love it when guys go out, shoot super low on Saturday, then they have to back it up again on Sunday. It's just a very difficult thing to do. So I think, is really putting together a tournament and giving himself, I think, one of the better chances, at least when they get to the back 9 on Sunday, to go out and win the PGA Tour event.
Kyle Porter, Rick Gehman joining us here post-round of the 3M Open Moving Day Wild of TPC Twin Cities as we head into the final round. Cameron Tringali holding a 1-shot lead. Men, thank you. And for more awesome golf content, join Rick Gehman and his crew on the First Cut podcast, a cavalcade of stars. Kyle Porter, Jonathan Coachman, Greg Ducharme, Mark Immelman. You'll get tournament previews, including DFS picks and analysis. You'll also get round-by-round reaction to each PGA Tour event, including the 3M Open, the First Cut podcast. Download and subscribe today.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.